Okay, so at its core, racism has always been about power. And we know this. It's always been about power, who holds it, who controls resources, and who benefits from the oppression of others. Throughout history, dominant groups have used race as a justification for conquest, enslavement, and exploitation. By creating a racial hierarchy, those at the top maintain their power by keeping others subjugated. Racism wasn't accidental, obviously, it was designed to divide and conquer. Racism isn't just a relic of history, it is continuously reinvented, ensuring those in power stay in power. Whether through colonial conquest or corporate exploitation, it adapts to new systems of control. From the colonizers who divided nations to the industrialists who exploited labor, racism was a convenient tool to justify exploitation. I mean, if you can dehumanize a group, you can rationalize taking their land, their labor, and even their lives. You want to know one of the most insidious ways racism persists? Well, it is by uniting people against a common enemy. Psychologists call this scapegoating. People find comfort in unity, and throughout history, this has often meant uniting against a common enemy. Racism provides an easy scapegoat. It turns them into the problem and unites us in opposition. For example, after 9/11, Muslim communities around the world became the target of widespread suspicion and hostility. I mean, governments passed laws that disproportionately affected Muslim, and media narratives stoked fears of an enemy within. Similarly, during the 2008 financial crisis, political rhetoric in countries like the US and the UK targeted immigrants as the cause of job losses and economic instability. Movement like Brexit capitalized on this fear, framing immigrants as a threat to national identity and economic stability. Studies in psychology, such as Henry Teifel, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Henry Teifel's work on social identity theory explained this phenomenon. Teifel found that people naturally form in groups and out groups, favoring their own group while discriminating against others. Leaders exploit this instinct by amplifying fear and division, making it easier to unite people against a perceived enemy. We often see the same exact technique being used by cult leaders. I wonder why. The us versus them mentality creates solidarity within a group, but often comes at the cost of vilifying others. But people don't give a shit. This tactic is especially potent in times of uncertainty when economies collapse or societies are divided. People often look for someone to blame. Leaders and systems exploit this instinct, redirecting anger and fear toward minorities rather than addressing systemic issues. For example, during periods of economic hardship, immigrants are often blamed for taking jobs, even though evidence suggests otherwise. Duh. This deflection this deflection prevents people from questioning the broader systems of inequality because they're so focused on this so-called job-taking immigrant down the street. So, the cycle of power and fear is self-perpetuating. Perpetuating. Perpetuating. Yo, English is not my first language, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I guess this is what happens when you love writing, but your pronunciation is questionable. So, the cycle of power and fear is self-perpetuating. I don't know if I said that word right, but we're gonna move on. Racism creates systems that oppress certain groups while, fear of losing power reinforces the need for these systems. So it's like a vicious cycle. This isn't limited to one nation or one era, though. It is a pattern we see repeated across the world, from the apartheid in South Africa to caste systems in India, and whatever the hell is going on in America right now. The media also plays a significant role in reinforcing this cycle. A study from Harvard University found that news outlets often overreport crimes committed by minorities while underreporting crimes committed by majority groups. But I feel like this whole health insurance thing going on right now is a little bit of an exception because Luigi is actually from a very privileged, family and like had a prominent not a prominent had a very promising like future ahead of him. He was very smart, very successful in what he was doing. Oh, and he's handsome and white, but I don't think I have to precise that. But this is an exception, I feel like. Most of the times you will see that. Even sometimes I'll see videos of like the stupidest little crimes being committed by black people, and then people in the comments are like, it's the expected group, or like whatever the hell they say. I forgot the exact sentence, but like it's something like, oh, it's always them, basically. Like, bitch, this was the stupidest little crime ever. But then you have like when I'm sorry, white people commit the craziest fucking crimes. People are like, well, he was mentally ill. His mother didn't love him enough as a child, so he went ahead and murdered every single girl he ever encountered in his life. And somehow that is like an actual justification that people give to these criminals and their crimes. Like, what? And yes, I am aware that mental illnesses can make you do things that you would not have done otherwise, and that it can make you unable to gauge the gravity of your actions, but it is in no way an excuse or like a justification. I mean, it might be an explanation, but like people shouldn't be absolved of their crimes just because they have a mental illness. There's so many mentally ill people out there who don't murder people or like do crazy shit, you know? So the over-reporting of crimes committed by Black people, by minority groups, and the underreporting of crimes committed by majority groups, white people, creates a skewed perception of danger and reinforces racial stereotypes, Black bad, Black evil, Black the devil. But white innocence and white is pure and angel-like people, and the bond over a common enemy, if we can even call it that, ensures that power structures remain intact as long as there's someone to oppress, as long as there's someone to hate, someone to put aside. But I don't know though. I'm just yapping, Don't listen to anything I say or whatever. Bye. Should I do it? Oh my god, what the fuck? This wig is so bad. Should I do a thumbnail situation? I don't know. Like, racism not good. Fuck these racist people. Or like, should I just not do that? I don't know.